Namaskaram, the South Indian is here and I keep my promise, ladies and gentlemen, all of you who watch me, thanks very much. But that is also because I keep the promise. Every day I say that even as we hurtle closer and closer towards Telangana elections, I shall bring you some story or the other from the state. And guess what? Now it truly feels like the poll bugle has been sounded in Telangana, for the big guns have finally filed their nominations. But the nominations are in double digit, as in from two constituencies respectively. BRS President and Telangana Chief Minister K. Chandrasekhar Rao or KCR filed a nomination from his bastion Gajwel Assembly constituency in Siddipet district. The CM also reached Gajwel by a chopper and after submitting his nomination to the returning officer met with the people. He is also of course filed his nomination from Kamareddy. Now if you may recall, Chandrasekhar Rao had won from Gajwel twice earlier. Meanwhile, if we shift our focus to the other big gun, Chief of TPCC Revanth Reddy, he filed his nominations and also from two constituencies, Kodangal and Kamareddy. The latter of course has been touted as a major electoral strategy by the Congress party, which almost sprung a surprise on all and sundry. You know what? It was being assumed that former minister and ex-CLP leader Muhammad Ali Shabir shall get Kamareddy. But then the Congress kept the Kamareddy secret very close to its chest and in the last minute moved Ali to Nizamabad urban constituency. In fact, Shabir had worked relentlessly and extensively in Kamareddy till the party decided that they shall choose Revanth Reddy to fight against KCR Garu. The third big gun, but not the least, is friend turned foe of KCR, Eatala Rajender, who has also thrown a wager to KCR from Gajwel and of course he is fighting from Huzurabad. You know, the point is that all the three have chosen one constituency which is not their traditional bastion. KCR in Kamareddy, Revanth Reddy in Kamareddy and Eatala in Gajwel. What is the reason? Some say there is deep-seated insecurities for KCR particularly, who is facing anti-incumbency, and many say smart move, good job by both Congress and the BJP to pin KCR down. Let us find out what the reasons are really for all these big guns to be fighting from two constituencies. Let me now welcome the guests to the show. First up is Bhanuchandar Nagarajan, who is a political analyst. He is joining us, and Nagesh Kumar will join us, who is a senior journalist. K.S. Prasad is already with us, political analyst, and Roydin Roach, also political analyst, is awaited. So let me first start with Bhanuchandar, if I may. Bhanuchandar, lovely to have you on the show. Bhanuchandar, tell me something. One is trying to analyze, why from two constituencies, not that it's banned, a lot of people do that, but the point is that do you think it's a kind of lack of confidence on the part of K. Chandrasekhar Rao, considering he is facing anti-incumbency? And do you think the Congress has really pulled a smart one against him by saying, okay, fight Revanth Reddy? What do you think?
Good evening, Sudha. Nice to be on your show. So, apart from that, obviously there are two clash of titans happening in two different constituencies. Not only that, not only is the contest for those constituencies, but also for the number 2 position in Telangana politics. Now, KCR is undisputed number 1. If any of these two guys, Revanth or Eatala, win against KCR, they are undisputed number 2 in Telangana politics and undisputed number 1 in their own parties, in Congress or the BJP. So that is the subtext of it. And in Gajwel, definitely it is probably the most watched election in this, not only in Telangana elections, but also the 5 state elections. It's literally the Ballaladeva versus Bahubali of the contest, and I'm really looking forward to it. And there are obviously a lot of subtext and the OBC angle coming to it and so on. We can discuss in the show, but these are my initial comments.
All right. Mr. Prasad, I want to ask you about Eatala Rajender. I want to, bring your focus to Gajwel, Huzurabad, his bastion. And we all know, we will of course talk about, the last time that he fought from there and he actually aced it, and of course TRS, then known as TRS, BRS, had a very weak candidate against him. Was it Gallu Srinivas? Someone I remember very.
Gallu Srinivas.
Gallu Srinivas, yes.
Yeah.
But I want to ask you, I know Bhanuchandar said, actually focused on a very important aspect. It's about who shall be number one, who shall be number two, who shall be an equal of, KCR Garu, and it applies, it's interchangeable. Do you think with Eatala Rajender, whose friend turned foe, it is a question of foe, it's a question of an ego, that I will take revenge, because everywhere you listen to his speeches, he says, I know this man very well, I have worked with him very closely, it is time that I expose him. You think that Eatala Rajender is actually now seeking revenge, and also in a party like BJP, which really does not stand a chance in Telangana, he is one of the bright bulbs.
Good evening, ma'am, and good evening to the panelists, and good evening to the audience. And the thing is, he just wants to fight, and he wants to prove his ability with KCR, that he is also in the race. And this is not a king's dynasty that he can show his power by using his capacities and capabilities. When it comes to democracy, all he has to prove in the public that what sort of vote bank he carries and what sort of equations will make. And as far as Gajwel is concerned, it is absolutely not his territory. But Eatala Rajender and an entire state, people knows him as far as Telangana, this thing is concerned. The time, what sort of role he has played, and he is the second man for the entire TRS party after KCR. But when it comes to a battle in democracy against KCR, it's not an easy cakewalk for Eatala Rajender, particularly in Gajwel. And last time when he had a candidature with Gallu Srinivas in Huzurabad, at that time, fortunately, he's also a person very next to Eatala Rajender. He traveled his entire political career along with Eatala, and all of a sudden he has become a candidate in particular constituency. Now, the Kaushik Reddy, along with his 60,000 vote bank that time, what he has given it to Gallu Srinu, and again, he himself is a candidate for DRS in his own constituency. So overall, it's not an ordinary battle for Eatala Rajender as far as hometown, and apart from that, Gajwel is concerned. It is a big war, and fortunately, BC candidate as a chief minister is being announced by BJP. So his role is also vital to win the battle. And if he wins against KCR, it's a cakewalk for entire BJP in entire state. But he has chosen a big war against KCR, which is impossible work.
Right. And Nagesh Kumar and Roydin Roach have also joined us on the debate, and let me welcome Nagesh Kumar, senior journalist and political analyst, as well as Roydin Roach, also senior journalist and political analyst, keeps a very close watch on Telangana politics amongst other states as well. Nagesh Kumar, I started this conversation by asking, why two constituencies? This is, because as other analysts are seeing it, for KCR Garu, it is like kind of insecurity, because which is natural in any, in the tenure of any chief minister third time. So he's kind of insecure perhaps, and that's why Gajwel, which is his bastion, and also Kamareddy. Revanth Reddy, to show that he can actually face someone like Congress is on an upswing, say many pollsters. So they say, why Kondala? I can also fight him in Kamareddy. And so far as Eatala is concerned, Huzurabad of course is his home bastion, but he says, let me show KCR where I can also kind of ace him in Gajwel. How do you see these two constituencies or twin constituencies theory, which is now amongst all the big guns in Telangana, Nagesh Kumar?
Not only in Telangana, you see, even earlier N.T. Ramarao contested from Kalvakurti and I think somewhere in Krishna district or Tirupati, and he lost from Kalvakurti. So it's a question of not taking chances by contesting in only one seat. And the chief minister or the prime minister for the matter is usually the chief campaigner. So he has got other responsibilities beyond campaigning in his own constituency. So to be on the safe side, they choose two constituencies. But here in Gajwel, it is totally a different proposition. You see, a month ago, you could have said that Gajwel was a one-sided contest. One-sided contest in favor of the Chief Minister K. Chandrasekhar Rao. But now things have completely turned around. People coming from Gajwel say that the Chief Minister is getting a run for his money from Eatala Rajender, because the people there are quite unhappy. You see, the Mallana Sagar, which is one of the major components of the Kaleshwaram lift irrigation project, falls in Gajwel constituency. And 12 villages have been submerged. And the other day, a book was released called The Reservoirs of Silence. The title suggested that how the people have tried to protest against the meager compensation paid to them for the lands that have submerged under Kaleshwaram Mallana Sagar. But the compensation has been so low. So now the government compensation is far below the market value of the lands. And those who have been resettled, neighbors find themselves in 30 different places. One neighbor will be in one village, another neighbor will be in another. See, neighbors are also quite often relatives. So they have been very poorly displaced. So KCR is facing a very tough time in Gajwel. And if this is the situation in Gajwel, the narrative that is starting to pan out is that he will have a tough time in Telangana also. So, and as far as Kamareddy is concerned, same thing applies. The same analogy holds good for this man, our Revanth Reddy. He has also a lot of responsibilities. In addition to the responsibilities like the CM has to campaign in other constituencies, he has to constantly, resort to firefighting within
all the time.
party.
You're right. Yeah.
So always some people will see daily. We see dharnas and protests outside Gandhi Bhavan, the headquarters of the Pradesh Congress Committee.
But Nagesh Kumar, they are also saying that it is also to kind of pin KCR down when you say, because for him not to focus just on Gajwel, because of course we will talk about Gajwel, how he has ignored it or not ignored it, Siddipet, etc. But apparently the Congress, because see, this was last minute of kind of putting Revanth against him in Kamareddy. So do you think that it is a very, very carefully constructed political electoral strategy on the part of Congress? Would you give it to the Congress this round?
Yes, absolutely. You see, actually, now look at this strategy. There, the BJP is giving a tough fight to the chief minister in Gajwel, and here there was a BJP candidate who would have emerged number 2 in Kamareddy. His name is Venkatramana Reddy. But now that Revanth Reddy has come, the scene has altered. The BJP may not be in the number 2 position. And see, a similar situation prevails in Kamareddy, where farmers are highly unhappy for a very different reason. The reason being a master plan has been developed for bringing in industries. So about 1,200 acres of land is proposed to be acquired for industries at throwaway prices. So the farmers are very unhappy,
very
and
angry. All right. Okay.
And not only are they angry, they are planning to file their nominations in large numbers, about 140 farmers.
Yes, I read that.
Like it happened in Kodangal last year.
Yes, absolutely. And pretty much the same scenario was, even Siddaramaiah in neighboring Karnataka was faced with that situation where you openly say, look, I'm not happy. The only way to kind of vanquish you is to file nomination. Roydin Roach, I want to bring you in. There has been a shift in the way KCR Garu has been, coming across, because in Gajwel, he recently met all the workers, and he says, listen, I will at least spend 1 month, one day a month, I beg your pardon, in your constituency. I'll be with you. I will listen to all your problems. Experts who watch KCR very carefully say that his tone was different. He was on the back foot, because the fact of the matter is, in Gajwel, they say that he is absent. He is never there. He doesn't come there. He's, he hardly ever addresses party workers. Of course, he did say that Siddipet helped me to launch Mission Bhagiratha, Dalita Bandhu, all that he said. It was a very emotional speech. But the man is MIA, missing in action. And do you think he'll have to pay for this, Mr. Roach? You have to unmute yourself, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. See, when we talk about KCR, he's a very tall leader. Okay, when you compare him with other leaders, he's a very tall leader. And regarding his constituency not being available, yeah, naturally the chief minister not being available, yes, but being absent for a period of almost 5 years and 4 years, it is very difficult for a person to, think of the leader not present there. The thing is, one more thing what we looked at is about KCR Garu is there was no proper representation in his absence in the constituency. Because earlier what we've seen is I think Mr. Harish Rao used to go there and
Yes,
visit
true.
and all, and that was there. But I think this time it was a bit lacking, and even there was no number two person who was should have been there to know the grievance of the people. So that is the main thing that is a back foot, and I think that's the main reason why he has opted for a second seat. But now opting for a second
No,
seat
no,
in
wait a minute.
Kamareddy,
Is it because he's not confident because he was missing in action? You say that he did not have a proper number two to go there. He always speaks about Harish Rao, how without Harish Rao nothing would have been possible. But are you also insinuating, Mr. Roach, that it is just to kind of cover himself up properly that he's also now opted for Kamareddy?
see any leader opting for two places, it's very evident. Like, see, we have seen even Rahul Gandhi ji, when he chose two places to contest,
Right.
there was the reason why he can't, because the intelligence report has given some reason for him to contest again in a part of south and plus a part of north.
Right.
So because of the intelligence report only they came to know and they got something working out. The same thing with KCR also. There's an intelligence report which is there. Something is there in the pipe, which is
Right.
in the air for him, which clearly he knew about it. And
All
the
right.
reason why he had a second option.
All
But the
right.
second option also is in a very dangerous place where even like people like Revanth Reddy are contesting, and
Yeah.
the farmers and the people also are very unhappy with the
Right.
present government.
Yeah, pretty much
So I
what
don't know
Nagesh
why-
Garu said. Yes, you're absolutely
Yeah,
right.
then
Yeah.
why I don't know why was it that he chose that place, and I don't think it's the right place. That's what I analyze, as per our analysis.
Right.
There's a lot of anti-incumbency for against him
Yeah,
also.
that's
and the party.
across Telangana, sir. It's not just limited.
And when
Maybe
you talk about Harish Rao, I'll tell you very frankly, nobody can beat Harish Rao. In the way he manages things, nobody can beat him in the state of Telangana.
right.
Yeah,
We'll
so
have
that
to
is a
see.
lot of.
Let's see when the
So
results come
that's
out.
what I'm saying. But what happened now in Gajwel is, I don't think even there was much of a Harish Rao in it. So that was the main issue which happened.
All right,
So I
I'll
think
come. Yeah,
lack of Harish
right,
Rao also.
right, right. Now, Bhanuchandar, let me now, bring focus because Mr. Roach spoke about Kamareddy. By fielding Revanth in Kamareddy, is the Congress party also sending out a message that, hey, we are on an upsurge after the Karnataka elections, which is what most of the pollsters say. But if you go into his past, Kodangal is a constituency where Revanth Reddy faced defeat in 2018 assembly election at the hands of that BRS candidate Patnam Narendra Reddy. So, don't you think that somewhere, what is making Congress to say you go to Kodangal, of course, which is your bastion, as well as go stand in Kamareddy? Is it because Kamareddy? Is it because it is the upsurge overall? But you know what, Banu? Elections have always surprised all of us.
Yeah, absolutely. See, both the parties, BJP and Congress, definitely sense anti-incumbency, and they want to stamp their authority. One BJP in Gajwel and Congress in Kamareddy, saying that we are going to be the giant killers. We are the replacement. I think they are sending the very decisive signal. Earlier in the conversation, you talked about Shabir and how he was the front runner, but now they are projecting the KPCC president. So. Telangana state party president. So I think they are sending out a signal. So which is important in terms of optics. I beg to differ with what Mr. Roach was saying previously. When people like Prime Minister Modi or Rahul Gandhi contest from two different constituencies, they are to send different signals. For example, PM Modi contested from Varanasi, saying that I'm there in the Hindi heartland. Rahul Gandhi contested because he wanted a southern representation and where he wanted to project that he could contest from two areas.
All right.
There is no such subtle logic in the selection of two constituencies by KCR. So we can assume that there is an element of nervousness in it.
All right. You know, this is good because the debate is actually, it's not a debate, it's just a discussion, like all of us are sitting in a drawing room and discussing, and that's the beauty of this debate. You know, I'm going to take this question about why Kamareddy and go to Mr. Prasad. Mr. Prasad, Mr. Roach, you know, gave me a very good point. He said, why Kamareddy? Gajwel, understood. But what is with Kamareddy is something, because see, in the other two cases, one is Sebastian Kodangal and the Kamareddy is, okay, come on, I'll take you on. There also Huzurabad is his home bastion for Eatala. He says, Gajwel, I will take you on. But why does KCR choose Kamareddy according to you, Mr. Prasad?
No, the biggest thing is certain things will take place in the next 5 years as far as Kamareddy is concerned. It is going to become an industrial hub for which they are collecting and this. There are more than 1,200 plus acres of land and all.
All right.
When certain developments are taking place in the presence of respective chief minister, then definitely the credit will comes to him. So the inconsistency of KCR as far as contesting in elections are concerned, he has never stick to one place. He's been traveling around entire Telangana, and wherever he stands, he proved his ability. This is what his success, this thing is concerned. But as far as this particular situation is concerned, anti-incumbency is the vital role. That the case, all the tall words from the respective parties are choosing two constituencies in Telangana, like Revanth Reddy, Kodangal and Kamareddy, and KCR, Kodangal and Gajwel, and Eatala Rajender also from Huzurabad to Gajwel. So there is no excuse for any of the stalwarts who belongs to the respective parties, and it is only a permutation and combination, either this nor that option is.
Yeah, but then there has to be some, because you know KCR Garu, Mr. Prasad, all said and done, is a very intelligent leader. He is not somebody who is a greenhorn. I mean, we've seen him over the years, and after the state was formed, he is certainly, I would not really, you know, there must be some logic. So if you think that Kamareddy is a place which is going to be heavily, you know, see a lot of industries, then that makes sense. But then let me go to Nagesh Kumar. Nagesh Kumar, why Kamareddy? For instance, if Prime Minister Modi chose Varanasi, there was a clear message. It's also the Hindu kind of, you know, the soul of the Hindus, they say. You get moksha if you happen to be in Varanasi when the end comes, and it's supposed to be the first city, and Shiva's benevolence, etc., etc. I mean, there is everything that actually suits Prime Minister Narendra Modi. You know, there is of course rumors that he may also go to Ramanathapuram in Tamil Nadu this time. Rumors. I am just saying there is a lot of speculation. What, according to you, Kamareddy, what is the reason for KCR to have?
No, absolutely. What Mr. Prasad said is right. Kamareddy is going to be an industrial hub. See, these are all places quite close to Hyderabad. So you cannot have all the industries in and around Hyderabad. You have to diversify to places at a distance. But make no mistake, in case, I mean, in the event that he wins from both those seats, he is not going to retain Kamareddy, because Gajwel, he is going to resign from Kamareddy and retain Gajwel, because Gajwel is the seat from which he has won earlier on two occasions. So Kamareddy is just a standby constituency. And as far as the Congress is concerned, you know, initially they thought that Muhammad Shabir Ali should be the candidate, but then they lightweight, that he was a lightweight when compared to the chief minister, and then they shifted him to Nizamabad urban and then brought in Revanth Reddy. So the reason why he is contesting is that it's going to be an industrial hub. That is the main reason, and there are no controversies surrounding this thing except the one that I mentioned regarding this this acquisition of land, and about 140 farmers are planning to file their nomination like they did in Nizamabad, the turmeric farmers, which led to ultimately to the defeat of Kalvakunta Kavita.
Yes.
If that really happens here, then it's going to be a problem for the TRS and for the Chief Minister.
All right. Mr. Roach, I want to come to you and shift my focus now to Eatala Rajender. Now, we do understand Huzurabad is very logical. You know, he has an upper hand. I mean, he aced his, you know, that very weak BRS candidate against him and proved that he has a backing. But Gajwel, do you think he's biting more than he can chew? I know that he's a backward. There is a general kind of a backward flavor of the month or year or months in across India, let me tell you, but in Telangana particularly. But also because KCR is facing anti-incumbency, do you think that there could be chances that Eatala perhaps sails through, or do you think that it's a waste what he has done?
I won't say it's a waste, okay, because the people's mood at Gajwel is something different. But I'll tell you something very shocking and very surprising is, I don't think even Eatala will have a seat in his own constituency, which is there now in Huzurabad. Yeah, because he is on the back foot there. He is the analysis what we have got through his numbers are not matching for him to, because of the BJP, him being in the BJP, he is in a weaker party over there. There doesn't have much of support. The earlier time, and as I said in the previous debate also, Eatala Rajender won the election on sympathy. And a lot of people supported him. Even the minorities supported him over there because he had something to talk about. But this time now, since he's with the BJP and he's the people seeing the activities, what's happening in the BJP, and the local people are not, because they don't trust the BJP. They don't trust it there. That's what our ground reports tell us. So I don't know how strong he's going to be there. So we don't know which of the seats he's going to get. So one thing is that him contesting Gajwel is a gamble that he's taking, but his own seat itself, what I'm seeing now is, it's very dicey. Yeah, naturally, if he had to be in a different party, then there would have been a thing of even the minorities also helping him out. But in this aspect, there's no more sympathy. So, and the minorities, I don't think they'll be looking at even helping him out in this election.
Right. Bhanuchandar, I want to ask you, about Eatala. Now, according to Mr. Roach, he doesn't think that, Eatala, he had a sympathy last time because he was somebody who was a friend and then he was betrayed. I mean, if I may use that word, was used. He said, he's gone on record saying they used me, not only him, but his entire family used me, etc., etc. But this time around, according to Roydin Roach, he's walking on eggshells. Do you know something? I want to ask you, Bhanuchandar, is the general perception, and when we talk about general perception, because elections are also based on general perception, because the Congress seems to be on an upsurge, Bhanuchandar, and the BJP doesn't seem to be having the wherewithal, and of course there is anti-incumbency being faced by the BRS. Do you think that Eatala Rajender's chances actually are dim, Bhanu?
There are a couple of angles to this. Sure. So one is something that you mentioned, which is that the backward caste is the flavor of the season or the months, etc. Right? So, and social engineering has well and truly begun in Telangana. BJP's probably second attempt in the southern states. First is Kerala, where they improved their vote share, but they did not get many seats. In Karnataka, Lingayats were their bastion, so did not do much social engineering. So Telangana is their second attempt. So, and also, like, if you look at the 100 seats that candidates that they have declared, 1/3 of them is backward caste, and Amit Shah said that you're going to have a backward caste CM, so on and so forth. So there is that angle to it. And second, very interesting point is the Congress candidate in Gajwel, Chandrasekhar Reddy. He brings a totally different angle. He was an ex-MLA, right? The social demographics of Gajwel is such that there are 6% Muslims and 18% scheduled caste. Okay, so how those groups will vote, whether it will split between the Congress and KCR to give BJP the advantage, these are the dynamics that people will notice, and I think Eatala is probably betting on that. But make no mistake, Gajwel is still KCR's strong point. Apart from the grievances that the other panelists mentioned, there is much infrastructure development that has happened, and there's a super specialty hospital that has been built, and education infrastructure has been improved, and so on and so forth. And this has been a feature not only in Telangana, but even in greater Andhra Pradesh politics. If you go to Pulivendula or Kuppam, they are much developed than the other districts nearby. So I think it's advantage KCR, but I think Eatala will still fancy his chances.
Right. Mr. Prasad, you know, let's also talk about Shabbir Ali. He's a very important character in this entire game. You know, the thing is that he did not know, and let me tell you, I have interviewed some senior leaders from the minority community. Of course, they are extremely angry, like the minority chief of the Congress, you know, who left and who said that this is not the way to treat me. He made a reference to Shabbir Ali and said that the kind of work he's put in his constituency is unimaginable. I do not know, I do not hold a brief for Mr. Ali, but do you think that somebody, a constituency which recognizes you for the work you have done, is familiar with who you are and maybe has the same community living there, do you think that the Congress has taken a huge risk by asking him to move to Nizamabad and giving it to Revanth Reddy, Mr. Prasad?
Absolutely. They have trailed with, they have did this magic with Eatala Rajender, Shabbir Ali and as well as with Madhu Yashikau. In LB Nagar, the large community of that particular Gauds are there. That's why he has given an option in LB Nagar. And Shabbir Ali is bound to move to Nizamabad because of the Muslim community are more in Nizamabad territory. But when it comes to KCR versus Shabbir Ali, which is an impossible task for Congress, that's why they shuffled. And apart from that, the groundwork what he has made for years together is absolutely zero. After getting this Telangana, from the last 2 terms, he has lost the battle because of his non-performance particularly in that particular constituency. So there is no question and there is no option left for Congress to choose another candidate than Shabbir Ali. And the only option with his own community that will give some minimum respect in Nizamabad, that's why they had made him to work on that particular constituency. Other than that, nothing of that sort. Shabbir Ali's groundwork is absolutely zero. And as Roach said, Eatala Rajender will definitely have a tough time in his own constituency. That's why he opted for this. This thing is the battle against KCR. Whether he loses or wins, it won't make any difference as an individual. That's why. Shabbir Ali's candidate is concerned from the last 10 years. I'm quite aware of Kamareddy, and there is no work from his end.
Right. Nagesh Kumar, I want to ask you, you know, elections after elections, we see that young people, you know, they come to vote and elections have changed also, they've altered. I mean, we do this discussion every election, is it issue based or not, is it Bijli Sadak Pani or is it something else, is this Bajrang Bali or etc., or Sanatana Dharma, which I am saying will be a very big issue, you know, in 2024 for the BJP. When you talk about how much KCR has done for Gajwel, of course, there are allegations that what has he done? He has only developed Siddipet, the rest he has all ignored completely. But even Revanth Reddy, if you know, I heard some of his speeches. He talks about Narayanpet Kodangal lift irrigation project. He talks about Mehboob Nagar Chincholi National Highway, special degree colleges for girls, etc. Do these SOPs really work? I mean, when I say these are SOPs, I am sorry, okay, these are welfare projects, but these are huge welfare projects. But you know, KCR has that ability to actually a Brahmin Bhavan, you know, a minority Bhavan like Shadi Mubarak, Kalyana Lakshmi, you know, he does all these little customized welfare schemes. So, do you think that still works in Telangana? Will it work in KCR's favor, or you think that, you know, Revanth Reddy could as well be, because he is promising a lot of major projects, Nagesh Kumar?
You see, when I visited Gajwel last, it was just an overgrown village, nothing more than a village, absolutely nothing more than a village. Now, Gajwel has got a 100-bed multi-speciality hospital. It has got a mall. It has got everything that a metropolitan city has. Of course, on a much larger scale. And if KCR goes there with his grandchildren, which he does often, they have got enough of entertainment and things to do in Gajwel. So right. To that extent, the people are impressed by what is there, because the roads are now good. Gajwel has developed. But you know, the bigger issue is Malana Sagar. The bigger issue is Malana Sagar because, see, so many families have been displaced. Yeah. You know, so many farmers have committed suicide. And to add salt to their wounds, the government has just dismissed these suicides as committed due to personal reasons within the family. So there are no takers for this kind of argument. Second is that KCR during the entire 5 years has been totally inaccessible to the people of Gajwel. Only very recently he held a meeting with the party leaders, and where he almost admitted that he has been accessible and promised that he would meet them once a month. The second thing is that the security around his farmhouse, Eravalli, has been so tight, and when he comes and goes from farmhouse, again which he does pretty often, the entire traffic is halted, and then the traffic is rerouted, and people often find themselves traveling miles and miles to avoid this security.
And you know what, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to look at this, what we are asking today, of course, and we've said battle royale in Telangana. But you know, of the three, there is one man, look at him closely, that is KCR, and that is, he has a disadvantage, and that's what I'm going to ask my panelists turn by turn. First up, Panuchandar. Of the two, Revanth Reddy and Eatala, they are not carrying the burden of dynastic politics on their shoulder. It's like a millstone around KCR. Do you think that is one reason? I mean, you may do as much as you want to because he is known as Welfare Raja. But don't you think, do you think that's going to be a huge kind of a hurdle for K. Chandrasekhar Rao?
Exactly, Sudha. It reminds me of Assam 7 years ago and Hemanta Biswa versus Tarun Gogoi. And there's so many parallels between this, and I think Eatala would want to be the Hemanta Biswa Sarma of BJP in Telangana. So I think there are moves for it. So that is what he will be hoping, and I think the recent voter surveys also point to the fact that there might be a Khichdi sort of a government. So let's see how things work out in the polls. But I mean, and also like the caste consciousness, unfortunately, in this election is coming up. So we are talking in the school that caste is the bane of the society. We have to avoid caste and we have to work against it. But I think this is all coming up against the population during this election cycle.
Prasad, very quickly, I'm running out of time. Do you think that is a major disadvantage for K. Chandrasekhar Rao, and that being, which the two don't have, is dynastic politics, KTR and Kavita Garu?
No, I'm unfortunately in this debate, and the very experienced journalist like you, I was not expecting this question because we're in democracy. They have to prove their ability in the people around, rather than dynasty will not fall on their head as father's legacy and other things are concerned. And definitely, they all these days and all these years, they proved their ability. When it comes to Kavita, she lost her battle in Nizamabad as an MP. So there is a tolerance and non-tolerance from the respective people around. As long as they work, they will be considered. Otherwise, they will be thrown out. This is what the beauty of democracy. So there is no question of it.
Yeah, but Mr. Prasad, Parivarvad and dynastic politics has actually impacted a lot of major parties in this country, and all I hear about this family is Parivarvad. Nagesh Kumar, quickly, do you think that that is going to be a major disadvantage for KCR Garu during this election? That is family allegation, siphoned off all the money. This family, they, like Eatala said, that they decide everything. Who are we? So it's almost like a zamindari kind of a system. Do you think that's going to go against it?
There are two issues that you are raising. One is whether family politics will impact that. I think this is the third election that they are fighting, and the second Lok Sabha election that they are fighting since 2014. I don't think anyone keeps in mind the family politics, the family as such while voting. But the second part of it is the family corruption. Yes, that will work because now this Medigata barrage is making waves, the way that barrage has sunk and the amount of money that has been sunk into that Kaleshwaram lift irrigation project. And everybody knows that how some bureaucrats and politicians have benefited from the Kaleshwaram lift irrigation project. If the Congress is able to play its cards and the BJP play their cards properly, then corruption of the family is going to be an issue, but not the family in isolation.
Yes, absolutely. But then families, even with Stalin's family, that is one of the things that Mukha Stalin and Udaynidhi are facing now, not so much Kanimuri. Mr. Roach, Nagesh, of course, Garu spoke about corruption. I had meant that where you have the privilege could include accessibility to a lot of things which others do not have. Do you think KCR Garu corruption, particularly the Delhi excise liquor scam, etc., is going to impact him more than it's going to impact Revanth or Eatala?
Well, the Delhi scandal is going to impact the family because we have seen what happened around. We don't know until we get a verdict from the judiciary whether they're involved. But the propaganda that happens around, the word of mouth that spreads, and everything is there, that is going to hurt KCR Garu on that front. So that is one fact of it. There will be a dent here for them on the issue of these corruption charges. It's just a charge at the moment, nothing proven. That is the first thing. Second thing is, one more thing I want to bring to your attention is, between Eatala Rajender and KCR Garu, the fight it's in Gajwel. It's going to be hard for both of them. And at the same time, we don't know if the Congress will run away with the bone.
Wow.
So that is, yeah, even there's a chance of that. So see, there's not going to be a dent in the Congress cadre. The dent is only going to happen between the BJP and the BRS.
That's such an interesting point, Mr. Roach. I mean, what an interesting point you have brought about, that it could be the jack in the box could very well be the the Congress, and not so much Eatala or KCR. And on that note, I will have to thank you, Mr. Roach. Thank you very much. Nagesh Kumar, many thanks are due to you as well. Thanks so much, Mr. Prasad, and thank you, Banu Chandar, for joining me on this debate. Thank you indeed. And our next story is coming from Tamil Nadu, where there is politics almost every day, and that's why it makes my state so very interesting. Annamalai, the cop turned politician, the chief of Tamil Nadu BJP, who's in the midst of his Yen Man Yen Makkal, which means my land, my people yatra, made a comment which is sure to snowball into a huge political slugfest in Tamil Nadu. Remember, the South Indian told you first, like I said about Sanatana Dharma controversy. So, the Tamil Nadu BJP president, while visiting the Sri Ranganatha temple in Sri Rangam, said that the day Bharatiya Janata Party assumes power in Tamil Nadu, the statue of Dravidian icon Periyar installed in front of the temples will be removed. Periyar, also known as Tandai Periyar, as we all know, is considered the father of Dravidian ideology, and two of the main points of his political beliefs or ideals revolved around his opposition to Brahminical hegemony and atheism. Periyar bitterly criticized any form of faith or religion and is supposed to have said, and I quote him, "Those who believe in God are fools. Those who believe in God are tricked. Do not believe in God." You know, when said in Tamil, it sounds even more poetic. I'm not saying I agree with it. Now, Annamalai also attacked Dravida Munnetra Kazhagam, calling it an evil party, and said that the day there is BJP rule in the state, that shall be the end of the HRNE ministry in Tamil Nadu, which manages temples. The Tamil Nadu BJP and DMK have for long been at loggerheads about several temples in the state. Annamalai also, of course, spoke about how the DMK was brainwashing the people of the state from believing in Sanatana Dharma, clearly pointing, disbelieving, I beg your pardon, in disbelieving in Sanatana Dharma, clearly pointing fingers at who else? Udayanidhi Stalin. But the main point of Annamalai's comments hinges on Periyar alone.
Now, I found it a very funny logic what somebody in DMK said, look, this is Periyar's actual word against the Hindu religion, and Periyar felt there is caste discrimination, that is why this word is there. Okay, our argument is, if you believe Periyar has said that, and that is why it is kept there, then I would say Periyar has said many things bad about DMK. And can we keep those words outside a DMK party office? And Periyar has spoken many things bad about Communist Party. Now, any Communist Party is defending their statement, we'll keep those words outside the Communist Party. Periyar said Congress is a party that has to be abolished. Let us keep that statement also a Congress Party office, because as a political party, when you want to take a stand for or against, let us be very clear. This is what Periyar said about you also. That is why we say, let us keep it in a place where Periyar deserves to be, in a public place, not outside a temple. So how can you call this as Hindutva, madam? Now, you being a reporter, you are mentioning a common man's viewpoint, if at all you are using the word called Hindutva. And BJP is very clear, when this word is not outside a mosque, when this wording is not outside a church, those are also places of worship. Why should this word be outside a temple? So we are religion neutral, and we believe all religions should be treated equally. And our thought process comes from that mind, comes from that rational thinking, very well thought out rational thinking, that this offensive words should not have any more place in Tamil Nadu's socio-cultural fabric. If the DMK believes rationalism and religion can coexist, why are they not putting this outside a mosque or a church? That's the only question I'm asking. So it should be neutral to everybody, fair to everybody. I would not agree to these words being placed outside a mosque also. I'll be the first person to object then also. Because people who go to a mosque believe in their practice of Islam, and they cannot see these offensive words. And why is, if the DMK says rationalism and religion coexist in Tamil Nadu, it's a very beautiful way we have done. So please keep it outside a church.
You know, with due respects to Mr. Annamalai, Periyar's opposition towards Congress party was also because of Brahminical hegemony. But that's neither here nor there. Now, whether the Dravidian parties put up his statues in front of temples or not is something which is about detail, and after all, every political party does install statues of their icons. Look at how the BJP has put up a picture of somebody like Savarkar inside Parliament in Delhi. But the point to ponder over is first, to be an atheist is part of Hindu school. The Charvakas, for instance, you can be an atheist. The Hindu philosophy says you're a believer, good. You don't believe, good. There is space for both Astik and Nastik in Hindu philosophy. Second, Tamil Nadu has a large population of those for whom Periyar was the icon, and he spoke about demolishing caste and rooted for self-respect and equality. Tamil Nadu was one of the first states in the country to recognize marginalized communities required not only affirmative action, but also political power. Therefore, Annamalai's comment on replacing Periyar's statue may prove to be a case of shooting one's own foot. Wait before it becomes a huge controversy in Tamil Nadu and gives DMK a reason to prove their loyalty towards their constituencies, and then this South Indian will be back once again and we shall be debating it. Just give it 24 to 48 hours. And on that note, this South Indian says goodbye, vanakkam, take care, and thank you so much for watching the show.